For the folks at home, for the folks that are kind of unaware about percussion, kind of give me a little insight into what it is you guys do. I mean, I know web content management. I mean, that's really what it surrounds, but kind of dig a little deeper with it for me.
Sure, absolutely. So we're a software company in Woburn, Mass, here in Massachusetts, and we've been making a web content management system for the last 11 years. And helping organizations, typically information systems and marketing teams, bring together lots of content, reuse content, and deploy that content out to different devices. So traditionally the web, but increasingly now mobile devices, tablets, and other channels where they're trying to engage with their audience. And a key thing typically now is that it's a two-way communication, no longer just pushing, but actually interacting online.
When you get into some of the new areas, multimedia pieces going up on the web, more and more people in a mobile environment. We were talking about the new iPhone a little while ago. Are you going to sort of address those pieces also? I mean, do you now, or is it something you're headed towards?
Yeah, we do now. We do now,
really?
Absolutely, yeah. So there was a great site went out on percussion last year, some work we do in DC with the Department for Health and Human Services. They had a big launch on World AIDS Day for the website aids.gov, and they're managing the web version and the mobile version. They're having device detection so that if it's a new iPhone versus a BlackBerry or a Droid, that we're going to get the same content reused across multiple channels, so it's a consistent experience and a relevant experience.
And what about the social networking piece? I mean, that's the other big, big
That's
push
that
we've heard.
street part, right?
Yeah, Google Plus and Facebook and LinkedIn, all those. How do you either work with those now, or is that also a place where you're headed?
Yeah, so we do now, and we continue to head there. What's interesting about it is that the ability to reuse content and publish content to the social networks, but also to make it a two-way conversation, to allow the customer, the prospect, potentially the employee, to engage, to comment on something, to rate something. A critical piece of that, and we found, and in fact with a recent launch of the product, is to break down the barriers that have existed between a social software like blogging and the rest of the web content management product, and making sure that that's seamless across the system so that we can do that.
I'm curious, for a CIO listening to this or viewing it, they say, well, this sounds great, but how do I get into it? How long a process is it? Am I looking at years, or can I do this, is there a rapid deployment? So, and how should I be even thinking about it? I've got my web content here, my bloggers here, my social networks there, the videos in the back. How do you just go about developing a process around this job?
Yeah, so certainly there needs to be some strategy around what they're trying to accomplish. There needs to be some thought around the moving parts, the enterprise architecture. The obstacle historically has been that web content management has required them to think about typically a 2, 3, 4 year plan for a content management system. And the reality is that 6, 12 months from now the web will have changed. And so those systems are inherently broken in our view, and that's the opportunity that we have, is to take our years of experience, where in some cases we were one of those suppliers years ago, and produce a product today that actually solves that, so that the process can be engaged, but the product can be deployed in weeks. If not days. We launched a site, stopbullying.gov, that went up from soup to nuts in 6 days. Small site, but reaching a very important message.